Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here with me today, I have a diamond in the rough I'd like you guys to meet. This here is Geoffrey Brown. He is a linebacker out of Indiana State. Nice to have you today, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Sure, man. I wanted to get an opportunity to meet you. I had a fantastic season this past year. Was named first team All Missouri Valley Conference. A lot of great tackles, a lot of great moments. Buddy, let's go ahead and get after it. Introduce yourself and let's get going.
Hi again. My name is Geoffrey Brown. I'm from Fishers, Indiana. I recently just graduated from ISU with my master's, and yeah, so
In your master's, that's interesting. How'd you get your master's so quickly?
I took some cl courses in high school, so I graduated with my undergrad in 3.5 with business admin, and then for my last year, I took courses in sports management because that's what I would want to do if my professional opportunity didn't work out. So,
Well, I mean, hey, to me, I think that that's kind of neat because not only did you get said degrees, but you did them quicker than most people would have.
yeah,
Kudos to you for doing that.
appreciate it.
Jeffrey, kind of want to walk through your story if you don't mind. Start us there off at the very beginning. Uh, how long have you played football?
I would say, yeah, and I was born in Ohio, so they start football earlier than people in Indiana. They start tackle football around when you're like 5, 6. So I started around then with Madisonville. Moved to Indiana when I was 8 or 9. And then from then on, I've been playing football, tackle football.
Right, nice. In my notes, have that you had attended Fishers High School there in Fishers, Indiana, and along with some football, did a little bit of basketball during your time there as well. What do you, I guess, remember most? What's one of your fondest memories of your time in high school?
I think my fondest time was my sophomore year when we won sectional. We didn't win it again any other time I was there, but my sophomore year we had got to start around towards the end of the year and we started to pick it up. We had a slow start, but picked it up towards the end and eventually got our school sectional. So that was probably my best time.
Neat. And how about you as a basketball player, man? You how deep or well did you play that sport?
Well, I was no more of a defender, obviously. Guarded mostly big men. I wasn't really much of a scorer unless it was fast break, but I still could get a bucket if I needed to. So,
All right, figured I'd ask the question. Typically dudes in Indiana that you get a whole lot of basketball fans coming out of there.
oh
Um,
yeah, for
you
sure.
a big fan these days or what?
Uh, I do like watching basketball. My second favorite sport to watch after football, of course, but I don't necessarily have any favorite basketball teams. Obviously, my generation, LeBron James, I'll follow him wherever he goes. So.
Gotcha. Obviously chose to pursue the game of football. What is it about football that you love so much?
That you could hurt somebody without getting in trouble for it. Basically, back in Little League, a lot of them want to check my birth certificate because usually somebody would end the game with something broken. So,
Well, hey, it's kind of nice, of course. I think most people, when they think about football, it is brutal, it is barbaric. And that's what I think a lot of people love, quite honestly, because it is a very physical game. Jeffrey, coming out of high school, obviously ended up going to Indiana State. I don't know how your offers were, man. Was it always going to be Indiana State or what? How was the recruiting?
recruiting at a high school didn't go too well for me, obviously. Well, not obviously, but I had Butler, which is obviously not a scholarship. I had Morehead State, which is obviously not a scholarship. I had some D2s, but never no D1s. I had Bowling Green and Ball State preferred walk-ons along with ISU. And ultimately, I personally was going to go to this D2 school, but I remember a conversation I had with my dad in the car, and he just kind of saw the disappointment in my face that I didn't have the opportunity to go D1 on scholarship like I wanted to, and he told me, just take your chance, go D1. I know you won't be happy at that D2, so that's ultimately what I did. To even take a visit to the D2 and ended up taking visits to ISU and Bowling Green, and ultimately chose ISU to be closer to home.
So did you come in as a walk-on then?
I did come in as a walk-on.
So how long was it until you were put on scholarship?
It took, well, we came in during COVID, and it took, I would say, halfway through second semester of me being there, even without not playing a season, I got put on scholarship.
Well, I mean, obviously they saw a lot in you very early on. You have, started so many games there, a lot of great experience. Have in my notes that you actually started 41 games for the Sycamores, man, which you got to be proud of. Want to talk through some of this career because, I mean, obviously, playing in the Missouri Valley is not so easy. You're playing against some top competition, even though it isn't the FCS. Playing against some good guys. Talk about you and your role in said defense there for your team.
Uh, I had a major role in the defense that we played. A lot of the defense was set up for the linebackers to make tackle between me and my counterpart. It's also to be a very vocal leader on the team, being a guy that's played for so many years. I got to eventually start 3 games into my freshman year, so coming to that sophomore season with a whole new group of defensive guys, the role of the defense was put on me early to be that vocal guy for us. And yeah.
And I know these past couple seasons, you were a team captain. And really overall, seeing a lot of good versatility out of you in your game. When they use you out there on the field, I mean, they utilize you at the mic, at the will. I know you have a lot of great experience on special teams. Can you talk more extensively about your overall experience, just in general as a player there?
As a player, again, like you said, I played both Mike and Will, started games at both Mike and Will. My experience as a player, I started early with special teams, but moved into more of a starter, big time role on defense. And I was asked to do a lot of things from shooting gaps and an edge, dropping back in different coverages, whether that was in the seam or the hook or into the flat. There was a lot of things that I was asked to do that I was capable of doing. So
Yeah, and they utilize you in such a way. Haven't really used you too much lately on special teams because, of course, with you being you know, a key component of that defense. They don't necessarily want you to trip up and get injured on special teams. But I mean, I know that, again, early on, a lot of experience doing that. If you can remember, because I know it's been a minute, what did you like most about special teams? And was there maybe a position on special teams that you preferred over another?
uh I said one of the things I liked was I think that being a special teams guy again, of when I first started, they have a different mindset. Like it's kind of like their unit. So I kind of like being part of that, the little bond of brothers we had when we went out there. I never did the smell of sauce like they did, but it was fun to see that, obviously. But I think one position I definitely like, well, I wouldn't say one position, but I think one unit that I liked over all the others is punt. Whether I played on the front line and punt or the shield, if I had to choose between the two, it's probably front line because with the shield, guys kind of get a free shot at you. But I also did like the shield because I was commanding it like I was Mike linebacker or quarterback.
Interesting. So, I mean, again, utilizing your knowledge, your leadership there on special teams, I could certainly appreciate that. As a member of the Shield, I mean, you're different. Again, different mindset because it is almost like a fullback position. Um, Have you ever played that sort of position? Like when I say fullback position, running back position, like when you go back to your high school days, did you do any of that or no?
Well, actually, I did first get my first varsity time as a running back because we had a lot of injuries my sophomore year. My sophomore year, I played both. I started the year running back, but then I finished the year starting on defense. I think my senior year or junior year, they brought me back to offense for a little second, trying to play that fullback role, wildcat, something stuff like that. But it's been mostly defense. But I did start off at running back.
Hey, I just figured I'd ask the question because, maybe somewhere down the line, getting that opportunity at the professional level. I see a lot of guys sometimes as linebackers come in other ways. So I figured, what the hey, I'd ask you the question. Um, a lot of great plays there on that defense. A lot of great teammates in that defense as well. A lot of members of that, unit where they're making plays all over. You've got some great linebackers, some guys doing a lot of good things on the defensive line. Talk about some of the guys around you on that defense.
I think one of the earlier guys I really came in appreciation for was Rylan Cole. Ultimately, he didn't get to finish his career because he had some career-ending injury. But his sophomore year, he finished as All-American, one of the best players I've probably ever seen. And another player would probably be my counterpart, Garrett Olendike. From when he first got there to what he is now, he came a long way, but he made some incredible plays. And another guy would probably be Maddox Blackwell, who just transferred to Central Michigan. Another guy that just always around the ball. Very small guy compared to everybody else, but yeah, he's always around the ball.
Good. I kind of assumed that you were going to talk about Oldendike. Again, both of you guys making a lot of great plays on that defense. A lot of people really pouring into you over the years, whether it be teammates, coaches, trainers. Who would you say is maybe one of the most influential person or people that have really helped you along this way in your journey?
I think probably one of the biggest people is my linebacker coach and defensive coordinator, Coach Wilson, Brad Wilson. He ultimately, I think he just got a gig at South Florida, but throughout the years, he's been one that's always been on me because he's seen the potential of what I could be. He's one of the guys that ultimately even put me on the field that early entrusted me with the defense. He's always told me, like, even at freshman year, when I was moving between Mike and Will a lot. He was like, "You're gonna be the Mike linebacker of this defense. It's gonna run through you." So I think he's probably the biggest one.
Yeah, I mean, certainly trusted you very early on. Again, just wanted to point out, I mean, 41 career starts is really nice. As it, any player at any position, I do think that that's a great thing. Let's kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about this past season for you. Again, playing in the Missouri Valley, up against probably the toughest competition in all of the FCS, if we're being real about it, and had some really fair moments as a player. I mean, again, despite having a losing record. So I do kind of want to talk about some of these high moments for you. The first moment that I wrote down in my notes was it your time against what was it? Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois, you were defensive player of the year or defensive player of the week. I mean, for your conference. So had a lot of great moments in that game. That was a comeback victory. Can you talk through that game a bit?
Uh, what I remember that game is we heard that week that they had a freshman quarterback. They just brought in a GA that hasn't played in a year, so we didn't have a lot of personnel on it. But I don't know what he did, but he had the Salukis fired up the first half. They started out 20-0. It was like we came in at halftime. It was like we still believed, we still kept talking to each other, kept pushing like we can come back from this. Like we know we're better than what we're putting on film. Uh, and then I got that pick six to start the half that sparked the run, and right before that pick six too, I missed my gap, and my teammate got injured, so it gave us a little break. I was like down on myself for a second, but knew I had to keep on playing, and got that pick six that sparked the run that ultimately helped us lead a comeback victory. But there was also a lot of other guys that played a big part, like Tony Roberts chased down a fumble punch out, which stopped the score that could have just easily had that game go back their way.
Nice. So, again, kind of, really making your name in that particular game. Coming back, of course, obviously great memory. When they're up, more than a couple scores, and you guys are going into the locker room at halftime. You guys obviously pulled it together and completely shocked them when it was all said and done.
Yeah.
Final score of that game, 20-17. So completely shut them out in the second half, which is
Yeah.
awesome. Also wanted to note a game that you had a ton of tackles. Dude, just want to highlight again, had 112 total tackles throughout the season, 334 career tackles, which is sweet. But you had 19 of those in your game against North Dakota, who is highly ranked at the time. So talk about that game overall and really what you remember most. Again, 19 tackles. You got to have a lot of great moments in that one.
I think what I remember most is it was just flying around. Like they had a lot of telltale in their offense with the guard pulling, and the certain guys that were in the offense with running backs that were downhill and guys that were more speed guys getting to the edge. But really, I really needed that game because I remember the year before we felt that we really should have beat them going into that overtime. I think they scored at the end of regulation. They even sent it to overtime and ultimately won. So I know that was good for a lot of the guys that came back to get that win. But no, that was a very fun game for myself.
I mean, I would imagine one of the things that you could really feel confident about in that game is really just kind of stopping the run, shutting down that offense, and of course coming away with the victory there against a team that you guys weren't supposed to beat. And so, how do you feel about being the underdog? I think a lot of people who are small schoolers, they have this chip on their shoulder. How do you feel about that label overall?
Uh, it doesn't really offend me anymore. It's like I've been basically underdog my whole career. Like even coming out of high school again, a guy that didn't have any D1 offers coming out of high school, having to walk on and then not even get reps at fall camp. I got, because again, COVID was happening, so I got banned from fall camp for the 2 weeks that we even went live to even earn a scholarship. And then coming in there, eventually earning a starting spot to being the guy that they're looking at and becoming the two-time captain. So I'm basically getting underlooked my whole career. So it just adds an extra chip, puts more on your shoulder. So
Well, I mean, you've certainly proven your worth. Again, with a whole lot of trust that the coaches have put on you over the years, and we've now closed the book on you as a collegiate player. We're looking at you now as an NFL prospect. So, Geoffrey, what are you doing these days as you're, preparing for that moment?
uh, um, what I'm doing to prepare, I'm sorry, is I'm training still. I'm still lifting. I'm working out with a speed coach for an opportunity when I do get to show my talents in front of coaches.
So, are you doing some of these? I don't know, pro day sorts of drills or anything? Like, are you working on things like your vert, your broad, 40? Like, how's that working for you?
It's been mostly I did work on the broad invert, but I've been mostly working on the 40 and the three cone, sorry, not the L cone no more, and the shuttle. Mostly those things because I know those are probably the biggest factors in whether a team picks me up or not.
So out of all these drills, which one are you most proud of?
I think probably the shuttle for how fast I can move side to side and change direction.
Nice. Obviously, man, I know you're working hard. You're trying to, earn that, opportunity in the pros, and you're, trying to get yourself ready for that. Do want to get a chance to meet the guy off the field, if you don't mind. Go ahead and share a little bit about yourself, whether it be, I don't know, your hobbies or interests. If you have any fun facts or something, Geoffrey, tell me a little bit about yourself, man.
A little bit about me is that I'm more of a laid away guy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm more like if I'm not doing things with friends or family, I'm kind of by myself. But it's like I don't think there's anything necessarily that I do that's out the water. I mean, I either on the game with talking to my friends, another way to socialize, or I'm probably watching a movie. I think that would probably be the most interesting thing that I'm like I really watch like thrillers and stuff like that. I'm not into like comedy and action, but I'll never watch a movie twice. That's one thing about myself, because I already know what happens. I'll never watch a movie twice.
Well, I mean, if you watch thrillers and you're, you're wanting to get the adrenaline rush of being like scared or whatever, it's kind of hard to hit you the second time. Uh,
Especially. But
so,
even with comedies, the joke doesn't hit hard the second time.
of course not, but it's still fun, to watch every so often. What have been some of your favorite movies as of late, man, for a guy who likes more of the, horror thriller type?
Uh, I haven't actually watched a movie recently, but actually one movie I did watch I can't think of the name of it right now. It just came out, but it's not even a thriller. It's a bank robbing movie. You might know The Den of Thieves. I just watched Den of Thieves too with
Okay, okay. I,
but I just watched that.
all right.
But that's good.
So I have a few other questions that I'm gonna see if I can get to. Again, dude, these are just for fun so that we can, shoot the breeze a little bit here. Do you fancy yourself much of a reader? Like, is there maybe a book or something that you'd recommend, or what?
Uh, I'm not opposed to reading, but I'm not big on reading. I haven't really read
Fair
any
enough.
like yeah, so
Fair enough. You had described yourself as a guy that's a little bit more laid back. So, I mean, I didn't know if, that might be the reason or no, but it's all good. Do you have any, I don't know, you collect anything or what?
no, I don't collect. I just be put away. That's the thing. Like
All right, all right. I'm gonna find something here. So I'm gonna keep drilling you with some things. So it's all good. How about oh, I don't know, for a guy growing up in Indiana, going to an Indiana-based school, what is the furthest you've been from home?
the furthest I've been from home, it was probably one of it had to be a Dakota school.
All
It had
right.
to be either Dakota or just me going to Florida. I don't know which one's farther on the map, technically.
Yeah, dude,
I know the longest drive was Missouri State.
okay, okay. Yeah, be honest with you, I don't know off the cuff which one's further away. I have to get the people to go back and look at it. Might be Florida. I'm not too positive on that one if I'm being honest. But I believe it's Florida. Um,
Yeah,
uh, Again, just a couple more just for fun. Let's see here. Let's shift gears back towards football. Who do you think's doing your position at the most elite level in the NFL right now?
no, it has to be Fred Warner. It has to be Fred Warner. He can tackle, run, drop in coverage. He just make plays all over the field. It has to be Fred Warner. Either that or I like Roquan too. I like Roquan Smith a lot too.
Gotcha. Uh, any other athletes or celebrities that you're a big fan of, whether it be like a musician or an actor or something like any other people that you
People
like to follow?
people hate that I'm a big Rod Wave guy. Big Rod Wave and Dre guy. That would probably be one thing I like listen to music and their albums, but
All
now
right.
I'm a big Rod Wave guy. So people think
I
that he's depressing, but I don't think so.
Well, whatever floats your boat. Everybody's got their own thing that they're into. So, Jeffrey, obviously, we've been talking now for a while. Do need to wrap up our time. Um, as we've been talking, we've showcased everything that you've been able to do during your time at Indiana State. Again, a lot of great experience, a lot of great moments. We see a guy who is a quality tackler who can also drop back into coverage and do well there. What else do you feel separates you from others at your position? What makes you a prospect that an NFL team needs to give an opportunity to? Close with your final thoughts as we end our time.
I think a biggest thing that compares that would be different than some other guys was being a small school guy. I'll do anything the team needs, whether that being them need me on special teams. I'll be front line like nobody wants to do. I'll be on punt return because nobody really likes to hold up. I'll do all the gritty things. That's been one of my uh, best things about me. Also, I'll play micro wheel. Again, it's very hard to do, obviously, because you have different responsibilities, different calls to make, but it's something I'm willing to do and take the time to learn. That was the biggest way that I even got on the field. So I think my mindset, obviously, being that underdog, like you said.
Well, certainly embracing that underdog mentality as you're looking for your professional opportunity here very soon. Jeffrey, just kind of want to wish you all the best as
Thank you.
you're pursuing your goals. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure thing. Once again, I got with me Geoffrey Brown, linebacker out of Indiana State. Check him out.